Welcome to the Same Day Podcast, where we discuss driving incremental business growth and other topics related to real estate, property management, and entrepreneurship. Now to the show at hand.
Matt Zalk here. I'm the host of the Same Day Podcast, where I connect with top business experts and real estate leaders. We've done a ton of shows that you can see in the feed, but one past show of note was talking with Brooke Reuter about contract for deed versus lease to own options, which are questions. We answered a bunch of questions that many people have asked us in the past. Today's episode is brought to you by Keyrenter Property Management. At Keyrenter Property Management, we are a full-service property management company helping our clients buy, renovate, and operate real estate assets. We help our clients build wealth while taking the headache out of property management. Brian on our show today knows a little bit about this because he does it for a living, and he'll tell us, if we asked him, that it's hard to line up contractors and get make-readies done in a reasonable amount of time after a tenant leaves a property. Contractors are busy, the work seems to drag on forever, and all that leads to lost rental income. But at Keyrenter, we line up our dedicated vendors so that turns can happen super quickly and we get more money back into the pockets of our owners. And that's why no matter what rental you have, a single-family home, condo, townhome, apartment, we have the management solutions that you need. Go to keyrenterpmc.com or email us at info@keyrenterpmc.com. Today's guest is Brian Grimes. He's a Columbia University educated real estate investor, mentor, and founder of 24/7 Cashflow University, where he helps busy professionals and aspiring investors build passive income through hands-free real estate investing. Formerly at work in financial planning, Brian's a certified financial planner, but in 2015, he launched his own real estate development company in his hometown of Philadelphia. Since then, he's gone out to gut renovate, I should say, 400 plus rental properties across the country using the BRRRR strategy. Brian Grimes, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So, as I was saying before, we're both in the biz. We share a lot in common. We both love the business.
Definitely.
Let's start with I'm not going to go through your background. I'm going to do it in the intro. Everyone will know it. Certified planner, Columbia educated. You've got all the credentials. Started a business. You've done 300. Now I'm going through your bio. 300 plus gut renovations. But so you've got credibility. You've got the credentials. We're in the biz. What's your favorite part of being in this business? I watched some of your stuff. You're super passionate about it. It's clear. You talk with knowledge. But what's your, like, if you had to distill it to one single thing, what is it?
Acquisitions. Acquisitions is like.
So you love the hustle. I love the hustle. The negotiation, the hustle.
To me, real estate is sports, and basketball was like the biggest part of my life growing up. It was nationally ranked, played against some of the best in the world. Took me all over the country. Yeah, but it was really the competitive nature. That I loved about it. And I had a lot of knee injuries. The good thing about real estate is you can't blow out your knee. There is no ACL tear for real estate. You just kind of keep going. You can do it forever. But the front lines, that's where you learn everything. That's where you get to feel out the sellers and read the market. So being on the front lines, finding good deals, if you buy well, then you typically do well. So just staying locked in on acquisitions is my power position. And then I'll build out, assistants and VAs and every other system you can imagine to support keeping me in that role.
Sure. Tell me about the markets that you're in, where you're doing the BRRRR strategy: buy, rehab, renovate, buy. I don't even know what it stands for, and then you eventually refinance at the end.
Yeah, refinance out of it. Where I'm doing the BRRRR strategy mostly is in Philly, Baltimore, Delaware. Those are like all in the Northeast, kind of the Rust Belt, because it's they're the top 10 cash flow cities. Philly and Baltimore are probably two of the top 5 cash flow cities in the country, and they're sister cities. So they fit my profile. I look for sister cities. So they have to be next to a bigger city like DC for Baltimore or New York for Philly. People get priced out of the big city. They move to the sister city. Yeah, smart.
Tulsa, where I'm based, has historically been a strong cash flowing market. But I was watching some of your stuff where you're talking about $400 to $800 per door in free cash flow. And I was like, man, we're not in a cash flowing market. This is different. I just don't understand how you can get $800. So you're buying, it must be workforce housing where rents are still just really high. So even the lower end housing is still at I don't, what are you
Yeah.
seeing? $1,200 for a one bedroom, kind of 15, 16, $1,700 for a two bedroom?
Yeah, we're seeing numbers even above that. Like we're seeing,
Wow.
1475 for a one bed. And these are in C-class neighborhoods
And
many of the
that's like
times.
payment standard, like HUD payment standard in those neighborhoods?
Yeah, like Section 8 will rip you that check. I mean, you could get 100% of that from the government. So here's what happened. In the I love the market. Like I studied economics at Columbia, so I'm really into macroeconomics. And I knew the market would adjust from the COVID activity, how
Yeah,
I saw the market responding.
sure.
And I said, look, if rates jump up, they double overnight. The market's not just going to sit there and roll over and play dead, right?
Yeah,
It's going to react. It took about a year, but the rents on the affordable side of things, Section 8, veteran housing, they increased 60%
yeah,
by the end of 2023. 60%,
yeah.
like a
I saw that too.
legitimate.
Yeah.
So the increase, it just unlocked cash flow. It took properties that were cash flowing, 300 a month back up to 700 a month. So it
If
really
you owned them
offset
from
the
before,
increase.
if you owned them from before,
No, even today, like brand new,
really?
even at today's rates. Yeah, it because the rental increase, even though rates went up, the incremental change was not as impactful as the rent
But
increase.
the value of the asset, if you bought it today, hasn't matched that increase such that
It
the cap rate has compressed to the same
no.
level as it was before.
No, because Philly in 2019, so pre-COVID, Philly was I believe, the top appreciating market in the country,
Wow.
appreciated 19-20% across the board. So the appreciation was always there, but you're talking about affordable cities. So that interest rate increase doesn't hit an affordable city as hard as it hits California, where the average home price is
Yes.
20x the
Yeah.
median income.
Yeah.
So no, we didn't get hit that hard. For one of the most affordable cities in the country, and the rent is just extremely high, low property purchase price, low property taxes,
Okay.
so
So,
lots of
so,
cash flow.
so I'm an interested client. Like, let's do the exercise
Yeah,
for this pod, but I'm also an interested client. I've got free cash flow that I would like to put to work. Right now, I put it together. I'm an LP in many, many deals, and we buy
yeah.
houses here in Tulsa and whatever else. If somebody went to 247cashflowuniversity.org and they booked a session or they wanted to chat, like what's without spilling everything, because I want people to go to the website and book a session. What's my first step? How do I get involved? Do I just send you a check and you do the rest, or what's the real
we
deal?
we have a done for you model. So I'd say there's two types of people. There's do-it-yourselfers who watch HGTV and Property Brothers, and they want to be standing there blowing the house up.
In,
And then
in, in 1 week, you will do a gut renovation. It's going to be
yeah,
great.
and it's never going to happen. And the problem is you can only do one deal at a time, and it's just not scalable.
Yeah.
And then there's guys like us who appreciate like more of a turnkey or done for you service where we can leverage somebody else's time, money, and resources, which is
Expertise.
the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a done for you option, our boots on the ground program, where we do it all for you. So I take my A team of contractors. I
Yep.
have deal analysts, all the lenders, private money lenders, hard money lenders, and we find, finance, rehab, tenant, and manage the properties for you. So we do everything. We'll find you a BRRRR. We do all the analysis. We'll connect you with all the lenders, and then once we close, we'll build it for you. The cool part about how we build is we build ahead of the money. So a lot of contractors will ask for like, give me 20% up
Sure.
front or send me the check. I
Sure.
actually have it on kind of like a net 30 or net 90 where they'll build and then we will back bill to the lender to get reimbursed. So it
Wow.
keeps your cash flow position very high so you can do more deals or keep investing in
So
Tulsa while you're
the
doing that.
the financing mechanism is a construction financing vehicle.
Yeah, we have
Love that.
100% lenders. So that's another thing that a lot of people don't focus on. For me, scaling, like I came from nothing. I mean, I
Yeah.
came from the mud, right? So I was able to scale with 100% lenders. They give you 100% of the capital to purchase and rehab
Yeah.
as long as the deal fits within their parameters.
Yeah.
So yeah, we connect you with those relationships.
I love that. So right now, are you doing more deals in Delaware and Philadelphia and Baltimore? Like where are you seeing the most activity?
Still in Philly, I'm a low hanging fruit investor. And it's not that Baltimore is not profitable. It's just, I would say Baltimore is about 10 years behind Philly.
Yeah.
So you can run into Philly right now and just make an absolute killing. And I'm all about the low hanging fruit. I want to grab all of those deals out of Philly until Philly
Yeah.
dries up. I give Philly a 5 to 10 year run.
Yeah.
And then once it dries up in terms of value, Baltimore's the next frontier, then like Cleveland, Cincinnati, and those locations. And then you just keep bouncing around.
And is the majority of what you do HUD housing, Section 8?
We do co-living, Section 8, room rentals, market rentals, student rentals. I do everything.
And you manage them. Your company will manage them directly. So you'll manage the acquisition, the renovation, and then the property once it's done for the next 10 years.
I'm holding your hand through the process. I've done this, even though I advertised 300 times, it's over 400 times now. Like I'm probably going to do over 100 more deals this year. I did like about 80 last year. So that number is creeping up on 500 realistically. But at some point, you just stop counting. But yeah, we hold your hand through the entire process, and we tenant it and manage it long term. We manage at 5%. So we do the management just so that our people have an edge over the competition in terms of cash flow. 5% is not profitable.
Yeah.
It keeps the lights on, but it's good for our people. So, that's why we do it.
So where do you make the money? In the acquisition and the renovation?
On our side, we're fee for service. So we don't hide anything. We don't take any kickbacks. We don't, people offer me stuff all the time because I'm creating a lot of activity within the market, as you can imagine. So brokers will come in, oh, we'll kick you a commission, we'll do this. I don't take any kickbacks because I like to be loyal to my people and to know where that incentive is aligned. But it's a fee for service model. So
what kind of cash? What kind of cash does somebody need up front to get started? If I was going to send you a check today, how much would that be? And what address would I send?
You would never send me a check. You own everything directly. I'm not. I'm definitely not that guy. I find some of that stuff just uneasy. So I make sure if you're sending a check, it's to the title company and you're buying. But I would say for a single family, you would want to have around 30 to 35K liquid. Not that you're going to use all of that. But I'm all about comfort. I'm very conservative. For a bigger multi, I would say around 50. And then you can get pretty busy because we're using 100% or 90/10 lenders. So you don't need a ton of cash. You just need the expertise. And you want to have about I would say like a 660 credit score to kind of be in that range.
I mean, so why are more people not doing this? It's not high credit. You don't need a lot of cash. Why are more people not doing this? I guess you're doing 100 deals this year, so a lot of people are.
A bunch of people are. I mean, the reality is we kind of keep it close to the chest. I can't build houses for everyone. I'm not Superman. So we help who we can. We have, I just got a text last week from one group. They've been with me for a year. They're just closing on their 10th property. We've had people who've done, 10 plus, close to 20 deals. Many people have done 5 plus. We just keep a tight group realistically, but a lot of people are, I think, far away from that ball as well. Like for me and you, we're like, oh yeah, this is great. Giddy up. But if you've never done your first deal before, there's so much fear. There's so much going on in your head that it's hard to even pull the trigger on this type of opportunity, even though to me and you, we can vet this in a New York minute and be like, where's the red flag here? I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
So on the renovations, you call them gut renovations. Where do you start and where do you stop?
I always look, these houses in these major cities were built, at least in the Rust Belt in the Northeast, 1915, 1910. Yeah. They're all over 100 years old. Yeah. So the chances are you go on that property and there are outlets in the baseboards, you got knob and tube wiring. Yeah. So I'm always going to start with ripping out the trim and baseboards. There's lead in it. It's really bad long term, especially in dealing with the EPA in the city. And then we're going down to kind of the 4 walls. We want to do as much new structural framing as we can, as the budget can support. All new interior framing, doors, windows, trim, electric, HVAC, mini split systems, baseboard heat, whatever we're going to do there.
So you generally put in mini splits, not full split systems.
I will either HVAC or mini split. It depends on the goal. If you're flipping, sometimes you can mini split. Sometimes it'll require HVAC. If you're holding, I would usually go like radiant or baseboard heat and just save on the money. Get the value out of the deal, get the cash flow, and then if you're going to flip later, you can always upgrade it. So I would say,
so the units in Philly don't require AC for the summer?
No, you could do window mounted. These are row homes, so this is like real life Legos. Wow. I mean, these houses are not that big.
They were it came on a train, and it was a Sears and Roebuck catalog order.
it kind of what it feels like is because every property is just it's just a row home. Every property is built
Yeah.
the same. The
Yeah.
joists are going left to right, notched into the bricks. So once you get the hang of them, you can really scale quickly. And your
Yeah.
cost, what's interesting about properties in Philly is if I take 80,000 in Philly versus let's say Arkansas, and I try to invest in a property, 90% of that 80,000 is going on the interior in Philly because it's a row home. There's just a front, back, and a roof. There's
Mm.
really no sides
Mm.
versus a freestanding house in a rural area where you're trying to wrap it in siding. You're doing a lot more exterior curb work and
Yeah.
curb appeal work. Maybe only 60% of that money is going to the interior.
Yeah.
So
Do,
I'm getting more value, more bang for your
do
buck.
you redo the main sewer line coming out, the kick out of the house all the way to the sewer tap? Or is that
You
not an issue?
can. No, it can be an issue on a older property, and you can typically tell like if the roof collapsed at some point and there's been a lot of water leaks and rotting, and you have old cast iron plumbing, that's going to rot out and it's going to start leaking. If it keeps leaking, the city will eventually come and cap your water line. They've been doing that a lot lately. So if you have something that's closer to shell condition, chances are the water line has been capped or could be, or there could be some type of collapse. If the property's in good condition, then it's usually fine.
Got it. Here in Tulsa, they're doing these smoke tests where they blow a little smoke bomb into the sewer line. If they start seeing signs that the smoke's coming out above ground, they tell you you've got to replace the entirety of the main line. That's like a $6,000-7,000 repair in its own on its own.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about the same cost here. I think we can get them done. If we don't have to dig up the street, we can get them done kind of in house.
Oh,
For like
sometimes they kick out to the front and you have to redo the asphalt or the cement.
yeah, if we have to go
Holy moly.
out into the street to dig it up, it's about 4,800. But that's our in-house price. It probably could cost 8 to 12,000 with just some random contractor.
Yeah.
But we get good in-house pricing.
Tell me about Section 8 rentals. Why do people want to do them? Why are people fearful about doing them? The whole 9 yards.
The fear first, people are afraid of Section 8 because
They hate
of the
guaranteed rent.
90s. Yeah. Well, they hate the 90s stigma of it. And it is real. I mean, I grew up
Yeah.
low income. So it's like I wasn't on Section 8, but we grew up next to Section 8. A lot of our, people living across the hall and down the street. And it's like, yeah, those houses used to get trashed in the 90s because there weren't a lot of rules. Now, if you look at Section 8 and the reforms that they've done, the waiting list alone,
Yeah.
I can say in Philly, there's like a 40,000 person waiting list, and it's closed right now. They're going to open it in like 2 or 3 years. If you get evicted right now, you get kicked out of the program, put on the back of the waiting list, you'll never get back on.
Yeah.
People are more afraid to get evicted from Section 8 than any, market tenant or any other type of tenant.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of protection. The people are much better. Like the clientele is much better than it was in the past. So that fear factor is there, but it can be mitigated with like knowledge and experience. On the flip side, the pro is, guaranteed rent. I mean, the government's paying 70 to 100% of the rent. You're not chasing people, even if you file an eviction, because that's always everyone's fear. While you're filing the eviction, Section 8 still paying you.
Your portion, their portion. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The government portion, even if the tenant's not paying their $200-300 a month. So you have just a lot of support. I just did a deal for my mother, and we Section 8'd her property. So she was going to sell it. I said, no, keep it Section 8'd. She was renting it for $1,150 to a relative. They left. We Section 8'd it. She's getting $2,000 a month.
Wow.
She's now cash flowing $1,000 a month off this property. I'm managing for handling it, but it's just like it's a gold mine. I mean, if you can do that and the asset stays in the family, I mean, it's a gold mine.
Yeah, we see in Tulsa at least that the payment standard for Section 8 housing choice voucher tenants allows them to earn up to an insane amount of money. Like you can be $67,000 or $70,000 if you're a family of 3 or 4, and the numbers are out there. You can just look at them, but it's not really low income anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a teacher and you're way below the threshold at a public school. You're a nurse working 35 hours. You may even be below the threshold, which is
I agree.
crazy. It's not the old stigma of the unemployed and unemployable, people that don't want to get jobs, etc. It is hardworking Americans that are doing their very best and are caught up in a system like public education that just doesn't pay a ton, unfortunately. They can
I
be on
agree.
Section 8 vouchers. High
I
quality
agree.
people. Not everybody is, of course, like anything else. You have a broad swath that runs on either side of the spectrum, but a lot of high quality people that are great. We have a ton of, we manage a lot of properties. We have a ton of Section 8 housing. And sometimes I walk into these things and there are candles burning. It smells
You can
great.
eat
And
off the
it,
floors. Yeah,
exactly.
I tell people that all the time. It's like it's not. It doesn't determine like your socioeconomic status at the point this a particular point in time does not determine how you live. There are some people who are market tenants who live filthy and will
Totally.
trash your house, and they're not
Totally.
Section 8 at all. And then
Totally.
there's Section 8 properties. You go in and eat off the floors. People are people, and there's good people, everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Of
I
course,
agree.
my great grandparents emigrated from Europe, and my grandmother, was a child of the Depression, and her famous phrase in our family was always, "We may be poor, but soap is cheap."
Yeah,
You
facts.
can be clean and you can be lower income, and and Section 8 speaks to that in so many cases. I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, any other thoughts about investing in Class C neighborhoods in general? Are you seeing a transition of HUD housing into nicer neighborhoods with the payment standards increasing, or has rent in those neighborhoods just also jumped by the same amount, and so you're kind of priced out of that with a voucher?
What they do is they pay what's called a high opportunity zone rent. So if you're in a high opportunity area, that same one bed I was telling you would go for 1475 is going to go for like 2300, 2400. So they will try to pay a premium to get into these good neighborhoods. But the C class neighborhoods, I just find the value is there.
Yeah,
Even outside of, the cash flow standpoint, that's where your appreciation happens as well
yeah,
to me,
yeah.
because that's where you can buy. If you think about gentrification, which is kind of like the dirty word of real estate to some people, where does gentrification happen? It doesn't happen in the A class. It happens in the C class.
Sure.
That's next to the A class. People think of real estate as there's A class. Then if you drive a half a mile, you're in the B. Then a half a mile, you're in the C. No, you're in
Go to
the
New
A,
Orleans.
and then you're in
You'll
the
see
C.
that's not the
Yeah,
case.
yeah, it's right there. The C is
Yeah,
always right up on the A. So that's where you get your properties where you can buy them and then they 3x in value in
yeah,
10 years.
yeah.
And if you stay there, you'll make the most money, in my opinion.
I want to go back to that point though that they're paying the premium for nicer neighborhoods. One,
Yeah.
HUD wants to get away, or has over the last decade tried to get away from redlining, essentially, of saying like
Yeah.
Section 8 is all here on the north side or the south side or the east side or the west side, and they do say we want to have a broader swath of the community. We want people that are paying conventional rent next to Section 8 tenants, and that will dispel some of the stigmas. What they've done in Tulsa, and I'm sure in many, many other areas, is zip code based pricing. So
Exactly.
you can get, in Tulsa, for example, 1750 for a 3 bedroom in a nicer neighborhood, whereas you're going to get 1475 in a C class neighborhood. So
Yeah.
that's how they've gone about trying to spread some of the tenancy out across different neighborhoods in the community.
Yeah. And it works. I mean, it creates arbitrage. You're definitely going to get people who are going to rent in nicer neighborhoods with different access to different school systems. And it works. It works out, but there's also not a ton of inventory in those pockets. I
Sure.
don't think you're going to convince necessarily the pre-existing landlord to do it. But if you're a new builder, if you're doing new bird deals, you're going to see properties, hey, buy them for 150 and put in some money, and you can cash flow them still with
Yeah.
something like Section 8.
Yeah. How many properties are you managing as an organization?
I would have to like look at a list and count, but definitely in the hundreds. I mean, there's a lot of properties that are being managed, and there's co-living, which is, many units. I mean, one co-living building could have 6, 7 units in it.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot, definitely a lot going on the management side.
And how do you maintain your sanity doing BRRRR deals, doing renovations in Baltimore, Delaware? I should do Baltimore, Delaware, and Philadelphia.
Just don't do it alone. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm the face, so everybody assumes that I'm like the mad scientist, and I've got a bunch of Bunsen burners, like boiling at all times, which I do to a degree, but I have a huge support team. I have a lot of virtual assistants. I have a lot of people that I've elevated into important roles,
Yeah.
and we kind of do it together as a team. So it's all about systems, team building. I got that, working at a startup for several years, being able to see underneath the hood of a company that grew from, 20 employees to over 600,
Wow.
how to build those teams and how to set up the team meetings and how to create the systems to interface. That's all a huge part of scaling up, and you really can't do it without that.
Have you been, of course, the AI wave has for the last 2 years been pushing forward. Have you found a way to significantly, I guess, meld AI into your business?
I would say AI has probably helped me more on the marketing side of things and content creation and ideas and kind of reshaping things on that side, which has freed me up to spend more time just doing like the real estate. I don't know that the AI has impacted real estate as much as just the applications. I
Sure.
think apps and like the different tenant management apps like I have like this landlord app. Now I can't think of it for some reason, but just being able to put up a rental listing in one click and
Yeah.
be syndicated across 28 websites, like
Yeah.
things like that have transformed the business more than AI has up to this point. But I do think AI and blockchain, I think when blockchain starts to take over real estate transactions, how properties are bought and sold, and fractionalized shares and how they can be traded on real estate assets, I think that's going to be the game changer for real estate. It's really blockchain versus AI.
Crazy. Fractional. So you'd combine your blockchain, you'd like
Think of,
combine your stuff and then own
think about
pieces of
taking
real estate
a single family rental property that
and
only
carving it
one
up.
person, and just hacking it up and hacking up the cash flow and the fractionalized reserves, and then splitting that through blockchain technology and
Yeah.
passing off that cash flow monthly through blockchain.
It exists. There are multiple platforms
Yeah,
that do it.
yeah,
I mean, you don't even need the blockchain to do it. You can do it. Blockchain probably helps with contracts and probably helps with some of the splitting of the cash payments without so many transaction costs.
exactly.
But generally speaking, there's a ton of different platforms that do that sort of turnkey rental carved up into different investors.
Yeah,
I just wonder. I mean, there's also the second home model, Picasso, and there's one called Third Home that are, you know, home swapping and purchasing of assets in for, a second home, a vacation home in an LLC, the way you've done syndicated deals for years and years and years, where you own a
yeah,
portion of the LLC that owns the asset.
yeah.
Let me ask you on the management side, what is the cash flow cadence? So tenants pay rent on the first, maybe the second, fifth, eighth. The rest of it comes in. How do you distribute the cash on a monthly basis, quarterly?
To the owners, I distribute monthly to the owners. Everybody wants their cash flow as quickly as possible.
And do you keep a property reserve of some sort for emergency maintenance and other things?
We have a pretty big crew, so we can usually handle like any maintenance and then kind of work it out with the owners. We encourage them, of course, to keep some type of cash
Sure.
reserves, but we're also like full gutting these properties. So when you stomp these houses out, there's not really much going wrong on a month to month basis. Maybe they try to put some non-flushables in the toilet, and then you get a backup and you go snake it, stuff like that. But yeah, we're our rent's due on the first. 5-day grace period, late by the 6th, 10-day pay or quit notice gets issued. By the 15th to the 17th, I want to be in a position to file.
Yeah.
That's how I like to run. I don't listen to the stories. I just don't deal with it because you either have principles and systems or you don't in this business. To me, I do. That's how I was taught, and it's worked for me very well. I'd rather file now and get ahead of the process than listen to the story and be 2 months behind.
Yeah. Absolutely. There are so many stories. I mean, you have 1,000 tenants, you have 1,000 stories.
1,000.
And how are you going to determine whether, one's real, one's fake? My mother had a heart attack. My father had a heart attack this month, the next month. It never ends.
It never ends.
Rent's due. I know there's tons of stories, and many people are suffering from cancer and car accidents and everything else. That's just the way of the world. Rent's still due. It's hard.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest part of the business.
It is, because it's not the heart business. I mean, a lot of us get in this and we have big hearts. We like helping people and we want everybody to win. But you know as well as me, these tenants will rip your heart out of your chest. They'll turn you into the Grinch
Absolutely.
real fast. So you have to go in and just, this is strictly business. And I think building yourself out of it and just putting other people in those roles and giving them the rules can help you as well if you're not good with that.
So yeah, 2 points. One, we don't run a charity, we run a business, and the business is what allows you to have a nice home to live in. If there weren't a business behind this, you'd have a decrepit old house and you'd be paying much lower rent. You'd have, a bunch of insecurity related to water leaks in the roof and the joists cracking underneath your feet and everything else. The whole thing that drives us is capitalism and return on investment. And the only way that works is if you pay your rent. That's the truth. So not a charity and a capitalist institution that helps you find a nicer place to be. Any other thoughts that you think people should know about while they're watching this?
I think it's just a great time to get into the game. I mean, if you're looking at where the market is headed, what we're thinking about from a macro standpoint, I mean, you have Trump tariffs, you have inflation, you have trade wars that will probably persist for some degree of time. They're going to continue to drive prices up. We kind of know that. They're also going to create supply chain issues where materials are arriving slower, which means there's going to be a slower delivery of affordable housing and apartment housing to the market, which is going to further the affordable housing crisis, which is already at an all-time level and is projected to double by 2030, according to the World Economic Forum. So we have a huge supply demand issue where there's a lack of supply. Prices are going up. If there's a lack of supply of affordable housing, then the cost of those are going to go up as well. Rents are going to increase as well because of the lack of supply. And then you have Trump trying to fire Jerome Powell and force the Fed to cut rates. We also have other rate cutting pressure, not only nationally, but globally, because the other monetary funds of the globe, they're going to cut rates to get out of their recessions. So as rates go down, prices are going to go up again. So what this tells me is it's a good window to buy and hold because it's a predictable market. Prices will likely be higher tomorrow than they are today, which means you can refinance out. And when you refinance out, you'll do it into lower interest rates, which will unlock more cash flow. So I think it's a unique window. And there's a lot of fear mongering about how the market's going to collapse and crash. I think it's all nonsense. While they're putting that news out, the biggest banks and hedge funds are buying all the single family real estate. So wake up, get in the game, learn, and just get in however you can, whether that's with cash and credit, without cash or credit, getting into creative financing, all those strategies, turnkey in your backyard, across the country. You just have to get started, get a deal under your belt, and then scale up.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better. What are the podcasts that you listen to, the books that you're reading? How do you spend your time when you're not working?
I'm like a avid YouTuber, man. So I'm kind of just always on the current events.
On YouTube. It's
amazing. Yeah. I love it because you can build your own algorithm and start, tapping into the information that you need. So I'm just always looking for real estate news. I'm doing live real estate calls every week. So I have to be on my toes more than the average bear. And in terms of like books, I mean, I'm kind of into like the classics. Like if you're just getting started and you want to learn this game, especially Section 8, I would say the Section 8 Bible.
Really?
There's the Section 8 Bible versions 1, 2, and 3. When I got started, it was just one. But this was two guys from South Philly, two partners, and they built a 400 property portfolio in 5 years with the BRRRR strategy. And they talk about all the stories and the horror stories and all the wins and how they scaled. And that book helped me tremendously and was a big part of the reason why I was able to get 300 properties in 5 to 7 years and then continue to scale from there. So I would recommend the Section 8 Bible versions 1, 2, and 3 to get your feet wet and start to understand this game intimately from people who've really done it verifiably.
Is that a worthwhile read if you're already a seasoned real estate investor?
Yeah, still? It's always worthwhile because it's great information. It's good to see how things have changed. Sometimes having the historical outlook on how the past was educates you on different loopholes or ways to adjust your strategy or build better even today. So you can learn a lot. And then the books, they're just funny as hell. I mean, these guys are hilarious. I mean, and they don't hold anything back.
Do you have to read 1, then 2, then 3, or can I start with 3?
I think I read 1, 2, and 3. I think 1 was the best for me, but that was like where I started. But they
Yeah.
really, I feel like, in many ways they're rewriting the same book and kind of updating it with new information.
Yeah.
But 1 was like the heavy hit where they went a mile deep. 2 was good and they updated it, and 3 was good. But to me, 1 is like the classic. It's like the first movie of the series. Sometimes as they get to number 3, it gets more and more ridiculous.
Listen, can I just read this thing from Amazon? After a 10-year hiatus and thousands of requests from our readers, it has arrived. The Section 8 Bible Volume 3 is here. Nick and I are over 50 years old now and a lot wiser and just as nuts. Do you guys still argue with your tenants? Does a bear still shit in the woods? Of course. I'll probably argue with them until the day I sell off my last Section 8. Yeah, I mean, it just gets more.
These guys are crazy. Yeah, they're hilarious, though. And they're a gift because you won't find another book like that on Section 8 investing or the BRRRR strategy, in my opinion.
I'm going to pick that up. Amazing.
Yeah.
There's just so much here, but I want to stay on with you. I'm gonna end the show, and I want to stay on with you, and I'm gonna send a check to title company as soon as you let me know. Brian Grimes Jr., and he's got a third, by the way. You can ask him about it when you talk to him in person. Is a Columbia University educated real estate investor, mentor, and founder of the 24/7 Cash Flow University, which is available at www.247. That's 247. The numbers cashflowuniversity.org. At 24/7 Cashflow University, he has helped busy professionals and aspiring investors build passive income through hands-free real estate investing. Formerly at work in financial planning, Brian's a certified financial planner, but in 2015, he launched his own real estate development company in his hometown of Philadelphia, as we discussed. Since then, Brian's gone on to gut renovate 300, 400 plus, if we update this the right way, rental properties across the country using the BRRRR strategy. And tell us again what BRRRR: buy, rehab,
rent, refinance, repeat. Yeah.
Got it. I can never get that right. There's a lot of
yeah.
Brian, I appreciate you being on the show. This has been great.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Same Day Podcast. Tune in to a new show each week and be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.